Welcome back. And now it's D-Day for President Ramaphosa's first State of the Nation address under the GNU. It comes at a time when the economy is projected to grow at 2% this year, while structural challenges remain around unemployment, policy uncertainty around the land expropriation bill, while the MTDP has just stripped out the NHI scheme. But high electricity costs and municipal governance issues too remain an Achilles heel. What does the business community expect from this address? CEO of Business Unity SA, Khulekani Mathe, joins us now. Khulekani, thanks so much for your time today. As we get started, do you think President Ramaphosa can strike a balance, the right balance, addressing the concerns of all South Africans and also just taking into account the interests of all the parties that are part of the GNU, especially when we've been seeing some squabbling and some cracks showing between that partnership?
I think that the overriding challenge facing South Africa today is, in fact, to grow the South African economy so that we can create jobs. A lot of this unhappiness that leads to what you referred to as the need to strike a balance is because we're not growing enough to provide opportunities for everybody. And so we would hope that the president commits to a far higher level of growth, a target that he can commit to, and then outline a program of how to achieve that growth target for our economy. Of course, growth is not everything, but growth does set the conditions that would enable government to address other social challenges because it generates the required resources.
Let's get into perhaps businesses' wish list. You mentioned important things there around growth. We also have really high levels of unemployment. How would you want the president to outline those growth strategies?
So we don't want to be guilty of what we accuse others of having a very long laundry list of expectations. But we do believe that there are, areas that we need to focus on. Mm-hmm. We have already started working with government to address challenges like transport and logistics, which have over time deducted as much as 2% from growth each year, which is really a setback. And so addressing challenges like those, for a long time, we've had energy crisis, which now seems like it is getting resolved. Of course, there will be other issues such as affordability, and the high cost of electricity would need to be given attention. Increasingly, we are facing significant challenges around municipal infrastructure, water services, and so on. Now, these things may look like, some may cover these related to growth, but businesses experience significant challenges when these infrastructure services of local government in particular are not working effectively. And so addressing these issues will put us on a path to first to stem the unemployment that's happening in the country, and then put in place the planks for us to then reach higher levels of growth. And so we would like government to commit to some of the reforms that are already underway, as well as others, to address these challenges.
Do you think that the reforms or the changes we've seen so far, you mentioned, the end of load shedding at Eskom, as well as the turnaround plan that's taking place and Transnet, do you think it's enough to garner even more private sector investment?
They are certainly a step in the right direction, and we welcome those. I mean, for a very long time, you had these two key network services that you're referring to run by monopolies, and we're running into troubles with that. We're now at a point where the government balance sheet is such that it doesn't really allow for government to take on more debt to invest in these entities, and so the private sector does have resources to invest, and opening up opportunities in a way that makes commercial sense is it's a no-brainer, and so we welcome those, and we believe that a commitment to that. And when I say it should make commercial sense, of course, nobody is going to invest significant amounts of money if the time horizon, for instance, for that investment does not make sense, because these are costly investments that you need to make, and then you need to allow sufficient time to realize the return on that investment. But this, as I say, is a good start, and we would hope for much more in various other industries.
Khulekani, in a surprise move, we saw government withdraw the NHI from its draft medium-term development plan. What's your take on this move, considering that the NHI bill was really contested and faced a lot of pushback from the business community?
So we've only seen reports of that from the media, and have not seen a sort of official statement confirming that. And so I don't want to make as though that is fact, which I cannot confirm. But we have always been critical of the NHI in its current form, and we have gone as far as making proposals to the president on what we think can be done to really give us a workable NHI that goes a long way in addressing universal health coverage. Any indication that the government is moving in the direction of creating a workable NHI would always be welcome. But of course, we will hopefully, when this announcement is made, seek to engage government, make our own input on what further can be done to create a workable NHI.
Sticking with bills, the expropriation bill has also been making headlines. Just how important is it for the government to provide clarity on where we stand, especially as we have, the international community watching us following Trump's comments?
I think the president has responded to some of the comments. We certainly cannot fault him, in the responses that he has made. And as you know, we have also outlined our, in a statement, our response to the Expropriation Act. By the way, this act has been in the making for more than 12 years, during which period we as business have been involved in NEDLAC and made representation in Parliament. And yet, the earlier versions of the bill had a lot that we were concerned about, but as it got worked along, and our concerns were addressed. We still believe that although it is not a perfect bill, but it does provide the checks and balances against any sort of arbitrary expropriation of land. We think that that is a sort of comfort for us, and that we will watch implementation to make sure that even the areas that we are concerned about do not result in arbitrary expropriation. So our view is that there are enough checks and balances in the Expropriation Act.
All eyes will be on President Ramaphosa tonight at 7 p.m. Khulekani, also be interesting to see his approach when it comes to foreign policy, because we also have issues that are playing out in the DRC. Khulekani, unfortunately, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your insights. That was Khulekani Mathe, CEO of BUSA.